people. However, what you might not know about bassist Conor Ball is that he's secretly struggled with anxiety for most of his life.
Helping him with his secret fear are the Speakmans, but will he be able to overcome it once and for all? In 2013, the Vamps burst onto the pop music scene when they released their first UK single, Can We Dance? The song charted at #2 in the UK, and since then they've gone on to achieve massive success, headlining 3 world tours and gaining millions of fans along the way. But for the band's bassist, Conor Ball, the road to stardom hasn't always been plain sailing.
I suffer with generalised anxiety disorder, panic attacks and depression as well. In the band, I think it's affected me in, like, I don't go to as many things as maybe I'd like to or should do as well. I'd like to be going out and seeing more people and doing stuff like that.
It is sad to think that some of the best times of my life were probably some of the worst times for Conor's life. Like touring the other side of the world is just an incredible thing for us, and I hope that moving forward there'll be a time where we can all be together and acknowledge the anxiety that Conor has and together try and overcome it so we can get to that tight unit again.
He was at a charity dinner with the band. We were out for the evening and suddenly I'd got this missed call from Conor, and I don't know, something just told me that there was a problem. And when we eventually managed to get hold of him, he had a very bad panic attack.
It was like a wave hit me, and it was like, I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I had to call an ambulance because I couldn't breathe. I was like, I thought I was like closing up.
Struggling with the fact that his anxiety has begun to affect his work within the band, Conor enlisted the Speakmans for help.
What we find makes a big difference to people is actually understanding what anxiety is.
Mm-hmm. Ultimately, you're protecting yourself from something, to a perceived danger, but not a real danger. Mm-hmm. That feeling we label as anxiety, and when it gets really bad, it gets labelled as a panic attack.
Yeah.
You say in your forms, you allude to a bit of claustrophobia.
I always remember when we were on holiday and I had to like swim under like a big rock to get to like a beach, and I got stuck and I was like, I'm not going to be able to breathe and I'm not going to be able to make it.
How old would you have been then?
9 or something, yeah.
Where were you when you were swimming?
Greece, I think.
Okay, how do you feel talking about that?
I think it's a weird, like a horrible feeling.
Yeah, I can see it.
Thinking,
When did you first become aware of your nut allergy?
When I was 6, I think. I was in Thailand and there was like a load of monkey nuts just on the table and my parents were eating them, and I just went to grab one and like put it up to my face, and then it just went like red all over. When I got back, I went and got tested. They gave me an EpiPen and were like, just avoid all nuts.
Okay. When's your next tour?
March.
Okay, and how do you feel about that?
The UK one I'm fine about. It's more abroad stuff that I get like anxious about.
You imagine that your phone goes and it's your management and they say, right, good news, we've got a tour in Japan. It's the first feeling you got that.
It does actually make me feel a bit like queasy almost.
You're always waiting for it and you're always anxious because someone ringing you with good news and it's like, great.
Yeah.
For you, it's like, that means danger.
Yeah.
So everything that you've described are symptoms of your fight or flight mechanism. The issue is, why is it that that's kicked in?
In essence, you've created a protection mechanism and said, this makes me feel bad, so I need to avoid it.
Yeah.
You kind of got this internal battle going on, and that's why you feel as bad as you do.
Okay.
Now, the great news is all that's happened is that you've linked your fight or flight mechanism to the wrong things.
Looking at the timeline, you in Thailand, you were 6 years of age.
Then there was another occasion when you felt you couldn't breathe and you felt out of control.
And where were you then?
Oh, in Greece.
Okay.
Yeah. I think as soon as I come back to the UK a lot of times I feel better.
Therein lie your two main issues.
Yeah. Makes me feel a bit like, jeez.
Yeah, I can see.
Like what?
I don't know, just a bit like relieved almost.
Just give it a moment to sink in.
Yeah, for sure. Bloody hell.
That's when we know we've got it.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
No, it makes sense, yeah, definitely. It's good to just like hear it, you know what I mean?
You've been carrying something for a long, long time, Conor.
Yeah.
We're not telling you what the problem is. You told it us by your reactions earlier on. We just know what questions to ask.
I think now that I've spoken about it to both of you, I think it's easier to speak about, and I know what I've got to speak about as well. And it's not that bad either. It's not as bad to speak about or even just to understand.
Well, joining us now for his first ever live interview with his bandmates by his side, something he couldn't do before. Connor's here. Connor, that was incredibly brave of you, actually, to come on here and talk very openly about that. Very emotional for you on that, and also here watching it back. Is that because it's a relief of finally being able to speak about it or understanding it?
Yeah, I think going to a lot of like different doctors and stuff, you never get to like the root cause of it, and no one ever says like this is it. But speaking to Nick and Eva's, like, it just had a massive release, and everything just sort of, I'd never got to the root of it, and I was like, oh my God, that is it.
Very freeing.
Yeah, definitely.
I've interviewed the band. We've interviewed the band loads of times, and you haven't been there. I mean, the times when you just couldn't come in. So how do you feel about? I mean, you're here now. You're on the sofa. You don't have your mates around you. Something you would never have been able to do.
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't think that I'd be able to do something like this. So it's really good to, and I'm just happy to be able to speak about it and hopefully help other people as well.
Have you noticed a difference in your day-to-day life now?
Massively, yeah, definitely. Like, I only spent like a day like in total with them, and that's it. It's sort of gone.
So you say that part of being diagnosed with an anxiety disorder can actually be part of the problem, because by just saying those words, it creates anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. And to diagnose someone with general anxiety disorder is a very sweeping statement. And the problem with that is when people receive that diagnosis, they feel broken and they feel that they're unfixable.
Right.
And, general anxiety disorder, we've said this many times, in essence, it doesn't really exist because there's always a trigger at the back of it. And saying it's general is a sweeping statement, which makes it a lot worse. So if you find the trigger and you go back to the beginning, you can change it.
Yeah, I think if you don't understand something, it's like, if you don't understand it, how can you fix it? Yeah. And I think the great thing with Connor was that where we saw his biggest release was that you could see that his anxiety was orientated considerably around the fact that, like Nick said, he thought he was broken and that he didn't see where this actually started. But once we unpicked it, you could see there was such a relief just in that understanding.
You really could. Well, it's remarkable what you've done. Well done, and it's made a huge difference for your life.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so brave.
No, thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Well, next time the band come in, we'll look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Well.
Well, if you've been inspired by Connor's story and are looking for advice on how best to tackle a fear of your own, then do get involved in today's phone-in.
Yeah, the Speakmans will be staying to take your calls. So whether it's spiders or heights or like Connor, you battle with anxiety.
Give the Speakmans a call on 08000 30 40 44. Calls are free from all consumer landlines and mobile phones. You can also email us at thismorning@itv.com, and we need your emails by 11:15 today. You must be 18 or over.